Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. In this part, we continue our adventures as Sandy Cheeks. Yep, Sandy Cheeks
Yeah.
in her Bikini Bottom.
The
I'm back. Yeah.
timing of your intro made it seem to me for just an instant that your voice was coming out of Sandy's mouth. That was a moment.
Well,
But Lewis, you're Sandy in the thumbnail.
if you heard her Texas song, she can actually get pretty damn deep.
Oh, I haven't listened to the Sandy Texas song in forever. Jeez.
I wanna go home. Basically.
Yeah, there were a lot of songs in SpongeBob actually. Now that I think about it, and for some reason, with most other shows, whenever they start singing, I'm more immediately likely to turn the thing off because I'm like, oh no, they're singing, and then I stop. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that was an instinct I had to stifle when I tried to watch Steven Universe. I've only watched like the first, 40 episodes or so. What episode was the third one with the lion?
That's, I want to say that's second or third season.
Apparently, I'm told I stopped watching right before Steven Universe got good, which
Then you didn't get past the first season. Are you sure it was the?
There was like a VHS tape with the lion or something.
Okay,
or
that was.
whatever.
I think that's second season.
I don't know. Like, I didn't get to all of the space drama, people combining with people in order to make lots of different people and
Fusion, ha!
Yeah. Again, I love the show, but that large hump is a large fucking hump.
It kind of makes it sound like I don't know, the Final Fantasy 13 of television or something.
There are so many Final Fantasy 13s of television. There are so many shows where it's like, oh, once you get to season 4, it really starts getting going, and I'm like, how much free time do you think I have? Because, what is it?
Well, plenty. You do commentary with us.
Yeah, I mean, good point. Wow, she basically disintegrated there. Okay, but it's like Star Trek: The First Generation, Next Generation. Sorry,
Next Generation.
Next Generation. That's just season 2, right?
Yeah, the first season's kind of weird, and then it basically just becomes what it was supposed to be in season 2.
Is that one of the shows where I could just skip the first season though, or can I? No.
I mean,
okay.
Sort of. I mean, Star Trek is always weird in that there's always kind of ongoing plots, but there's also individual episodes. So,
like Star Trek, I always felt was mostly episodic. At least the original series definitely is.
Well, the original series definitely. Next Generation onward, there are definitely ongoing plots that come back now and again, but it's still for the most part episodic.
Yeah. But there's a lot of shows. Like, I think was. Not Mad Men. Well, I know that people really definitely get into a lot of... Oh, God, no! Sandy!
Hans.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot, more than I could probably name right now, that people are like, oh, once you get to season 3, it's really, really good. And then you also get those shows where it's just like, okay, just watch the first season, because everything after that is trash. Which a lot of people say about stuff like Lost, but the difference with Lost is that if you finish the first season, then there's another cliffhanger, so you're just left with an incomplete story if you stop.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I always hear that Lost was so disappointing from people who
That
watched it.
and Heroes.
Yeah, that's another thing that I remember watching, because that's the one that was basically just X-Men but no school, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I hear people were like, oh man, season 1 was so good. And then the ending was trash, apparently.
It's really strange when it comes to shows and ongoing stories. I mean, on the one hand, there really is an argument to be made for making it purely episodic so that people don't have to invest that bajillion hours of time into keeping up with it. But on the other hand, there's a lot of potential in television series for really long stories, really long involved stories, the kind you can't really fit into a movie. So
Yeah, I'm just glad we've gotten to the point with streaming services where everything doesn't have to frickin' run forever. Because that's the biggest problem with network TV, is just everything has to run forever.
That's
mildly successful.
also the advent of streaming services and easy recording. with stuff like, well, I mean, nobody really uses TiVo anymore, but once TiVo came out and recording your shows became easy as opposed to dealing with the nightmare that was your VHS,
Your VCR.
box. And I remember my parents tried to get me to set up the VCR. I was like 10 years old. They were out somewhere, and they tried to get me to set up the VCR to record an episode of Survivor over the phone. And that was an adventure. I'll just say that.
I can imagine.
But nowadays we don't have to worry about.
I didn't set it up properly, and my grandparents said, "I vote Ted off the island."
Man, you are having bad luck with these pits today.
Well, the knockback also makes Simon Belmont think he has it easy. So there's that.
Yeah, that kind of looked like the enemy was made of actual rubber.
Yeah.
The same rubber that bouncy balls are made of.
Yeah, so it's not like the knockback in this game's interesting. It's not like you're knocked back a set distance. It like alters your momentum, and what you get hit by makes you move more or less far away. It's bizarre. See, like there, like that attack knocks me. I keep on moving because there was nothing there to stop me. So, yeah, these guys are annoying.
It's simultaneously a really cool and really bad physics engine.
Yeah. So anyway, back on topic, which was the topic that was off topic. I'm really glad that now with streaming services, you don't have to worry about missing an episode anymore, or waiting for the rerun that's never going to pop up, or having to open up your TV guide, which is...
TV guide, holy shit.
Hey, I remember TV guides, all right?
So do I. I mean, I remember the episode of Malcolm in the Middle where I think they got either cable or satellite. And Reese and Hal just spent the entire episode in front of the TV watching the channels click by, like, look at how many channels we have. And they spend the whole episode just sitting there. It's like, it's still not through a loop.
Geez. But yeah, like, they were still printing those things up through I was, like, in middle school, which I think by that point, there, a lot of people basically had cable, so it stopped. They realized, okay, we don't need to
honestly,
waste paper
I think
on
they
this.
still do.
Yeah,
I think
because
it's
supermarkets
I
and
think-
just for the elderly.
yeah,
I
for
think-
the
no, I think
70-year-olds
it's-
who don't know better.
I think it's more of an entertainment magazine than an actual guide.
Well, that's true. But I mean, granted, we're coming to the point where it's going to be obsolete for the other reason, in that nobody needs cable anymore because we all have Netflix. You know? Because it's just like, why?
Netflix and in about 2 years' time, 10 other streaming services. So you might as well be paying a satellite bill.
That's
Yeah, I know,
that's
right?
true, but that's going to be disappointing because you're only buying the $10 Fox service because you want to watch The Simpsons and nothing else.
The unfortunate thing about streaming, though, is that it is kind of dependent on what the internet is like in your location. So a lot of people will probably still stick with cable, at least for the on-demand service.
That's a good point. I don't know how long it's going to take for quality internet to
be
It's
everywhere.
gonna have it's
Yeah.
gonna have to happen at some point. They can't ignore it forever.
But there's a lot of
No.
infrastructure that needs to be built for that too. So I imagine...
We already paid them. We already paid them for the infrastructure, and they just sat on the money.
Yeah, I know. That doesn't mean that they got to
The
build
money
it
does make
eventually.
for a really comfy couch.
Yeah. So, like, I'd say we're at least a good 10 or more years before we get to that point. But yeah. But I mean, then why would you pay for Netflix when BrainScratch Commentaries is free on YouTube?
Well, not technically, because you have to pay for internet service.
It's free.
Okay,
in
but
air
we're not
quotes.
getting a cut of that money, so we need to call Comcast and complain.
We're not?
No, we're not.
Man.
Nothing is free.
Nothing is, not even breathing.
If something is free, then it's not. Then you're the product.
Wait,
Nothing
what
is
service
free.
are we providing
Everything is
to
permitted.
Oxygen? Yeah.
Okay, this room looks interesting.
Yeah,
It's an enemy rush.
Yeah, it's an enemy rush section. Thankfully, because you can defeat the enemy spawners before they spawn too many nukes. If you know where to go, you can keep it from being too long. Like right here, they only summoned like 2 people, and I managed to knock one of them into the other one. and kill them easily. And I'm looking all over for that guy, but it was right behind camera. Yeah, this game's camera is not terrible, but it certainly is a mid-2000s platformer camera. Which by that I mean it's not great.
It functions.
Most of the
The
time.
debris looks like jigsaw pieces while they're falling, but they become like regular debris when it hits the floor.
Hold on, let me look.
It's an odd thing.
Yeah, they do become jigsaw
Oh,
puzzles
and then
before
they.
hit the floor.
Oh, huh. Okay.
That's
Yeah,
odd.
it's an odd little thing.
Okay, I never noticed that before because it's not something I go out of my way to think about, I suppose.
Or maybe it's not jigsaw pieces, but like maybe they share the same model as all the currency.
You know what? That actually might make that probably would be a faster way to do it. Now that I think about it, is just to reuse that architecture or what have you, whatever it's called. Oh yeah, I have to whack you twice.
But he's dead.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, so this is one of the last parts of the stage that you generally will find yourself doing, because after you go through the upper area in the rooftops with Sandy, this leads you back to the main floor of SpongeBob so that you can pick up all the other stuff that you may have missed during your first run through. So this is really one of the major... Wow, okay, those things just faded out of existence. Oh, there it is, and now it's gone.
Better fade out than pop out.
That's
Yeah.
that's true. I think by this point, most games were trying not to do pop-in, at least most of the time. Sorry, I lost my train of thought completely. Oh yeah, so this is one of the only stages in the game that I think is really mostly open. The rooftop section's pretty linear, but other than that, this area tries to be a little bit... we just opened that door from the inside, Bubble Buddy. Okay. Alright. Thanks, man. So yeah, so now if you missed anything else, you can go and look for it here now. But the only other area left in this level that we haven't done is the Sea Needle, so we're supposed to go do that now. I know that it's supposed to be a play on the Sky Needle in Seattle, I guess,
yeah.
but I don't know if there's any other reference or whatever they're trying to make with this thing. It's also the worst tourist destination ever if there's like literal holes and moving platforms that are necessary in order to get people to go around it, but whatever.
Well, the thing is, you're SpongeBob SquarePants and you're too stupid to swim.
Yeah,
That's
well,
not
I mean,
true of most of the tourists.
Well, actually, no, it's not really, because most of the things in SpongeBob walk around just.
They're
just like
doing
he
it
does.
so that they don't make SpongeBob feel bad.
Oh, they're so considerate, considering that everybody in this town thinks he's a nuisance. Wow, man, they're nicer than I thought that they were. Ah, jeez. So, I mean, to be fair, being able to walk at all is better than the majority of his species, which just kind of sits there and it exists, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't even know if sponges are technically an animal, now that I'm thinking about it.
I think they technically are.
Yeah, by technicality.
I guess, suppose they technically do eat other things, so I guess that counts. Yeah,
No,
so
I
this-
mean, when SpongeBob was like doing photosynthesis, he wasn't actually doing photosynthesis. So.
well, as far as we know. So yeah, this section's pretty simple. Yeah, this section's pretty simple. All we have to do is just break all the tikis at all 4 bungee points, and then we get the spatula. This is also one of the only areas in the game where you absolutely need to backtrack, because at some point we'll unlock on our menu we'll unlock a mission that's just called Come Back with the Cruise Bubble, where it's just like, okay, you're not doing it right now. Come back later.
Well, at least they were nice enough to tell you.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's basically I don't think you can even really see the spatula when you're just walking around normally, and if you can, you have to do some weird camera movement, probably while double jumping off the bottomless pit. So it's not something you're probably going to find when you're just walking around normally. It's probably just something where you look at your pause menu and see, oh, there's a mission here. Oh, okay, I don't know when I unlocked that, but whatever. You also
I think
unlock
my favorite thing about the hook missions is just that, it just makes you think of like behind the scenes. It's like, hey, Frank, what do you want me to texture today? SpongeBob's ass.
The fact that we
Okay.
see it is a little odd as well, but, I also just noticed that they put a lot of energy into making sure that the underwear, actually, twists realistically, as opposed to just rotating.
No expense was spared.
Underwear physics is the future, boys.
Expense has been spared to acquire food technology.
Because the restaurant closes at 6.
At 6. Today's fat customers.
The actual episode was always one of the best. Also because
It hits a little too close to home once you become like a teenager and work your first retail or fast food job.
But the other best part is that it's either paired, whenever it was airing on TV, it was either paired with the episode where they paint Mr. Krabs' house, which is also a really good one, or the chocolate bar one, which is another really, really good one. So it's just like, okay, you got 2 really good episodes in one half-hour block, which was always really nice. Do modern-day cartoons still do that, where they have the 11 minutes?
Teen Titans Go does, yeah.
Steven Universe does it.
Oh, okay. I thought Steven Universe did the 22 minutes.
So, sometimes they have half-hour specials, but most of the time it's 11-minute spurts.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because granted, I don't go out of my way to watch a lot of cartoons anymore, so...
There's no initial interest anymore unless I just happen to come across it and like what I see to consider watching more of it.
Yeah.
I think that was the case with me in what was the name of that other show on Cartoon Network? It's the blue cat with the
Gumball?
Gumball?
Gumball? I think it's Gumball. Yeah, I caught an episode of that while I was in PAX earlier this year, and I thought it was funny, but I didn't, immediately think about watching.
I assume you've seen the video game RPG one.
No, I don't think I have.
Come into my house and sleep on my bed. He won't mind if we take all this money. He's an NPC. And then it just goes to close up on that guy shedding a single tear because he can't move.
The clips I've seen of that episode are were pretty funny. Like, there's one person who says, like, oh, this pallet's been here since the 1950s. And then there's an instruction for, it's just like, even a woman can open this. And it's just like, yeah. But hey, it was 25 cents for a whole pallet. Times must have been easier back then, weren't they?